if you want full solid proof that men are ultimately the prize when it comes to this whole dating thing, look no further than going to Reddit's section called Waiting to Wed. So for those of you that don't know about this thread in Reddit, right? It is a whole thread that is basically majority women complaining about how the guy that they're married to has yet to actually propose to them. These are women that have been waiting like anywhere between 3 to 10, maybe 15 years for their guy to propose. Now, in the meantime, she ain't like left the relationship. These women have moved in with guys, have gotten pregnant by and had kids by these guys, have long lived with them for 10, 15 years or whatever like that, has had several conversations with these guys about getting married, and yet and still, they are on here, still single, still without a ring, still unable to get these guys to commit. So here's my thing, right? Because the argument's always that women will argue, well, because they're the ones that are supposed to be pursued, that they are the prize. But what is a prize? A prize is simply something that is to be won and that one person desires as obtainable. And so you got to look at the fact that in these situations, these women are with these dudes, right? And even though they may claim themselves to be the prize, the reality is they're waiting on this dude to propose. Why is that happening? Because they see that dude as the end-all be-all. They see that as the number one guy that they want to get with. They don't see any other prospects out there that they want to settle down with. They only want to settle down with this one guy, and the guy on his side is just like, I can wait. Or maybe he's thinking, I don't know if you're quite the one yet. I got other things I got to build up to first. I'm going to take my time. So in that situation, who is actually the prize, right? And you got to look at the one that is less desperate and is like, I can take it or leave it, really is the one that is the prize, because they're not walking around feeling like they just have to commit to any particular person. But these women in these scenarios are. So I just want to read first I'm going to just read a few titles of some of these posts that really show what I'm talking about, right? So just the titles. We have this title, Boyfriend Isn't on the Same Page as Me. We've been dating since 16 and now she's 24 and they're not married yet. Let's see, we have one here that says, he's my soulmate, but sometimes I think about giving up on him. They've been dating for 2.5 years. This one says, boyfriend shut down when I brought up my feelings. We've been together since 2023. It is now 2025, so that's 2 years. This one says 7 years in and grappling with resentment and disappointment. So she's been with her partner for 7 years and yet and still has not proposed. So let's just click on one. So this one is, she's 37, he's 38, 5-year relationship. She's pregnant and at the end of the deadline. By the way, I find it hilarious that women on these forums talk about, well, I have a certain deadline that I want him to meet, and if he doesn't meet it, and then they'll say like, but the deadline passed and I'm still here and still waiting for him. Why? Why is she still waiting? If she was the prize, why would she still be waiting for this guy to finally propose unless it was the other way around? Like, she's seeing him as the prize, which is why she's waiting by idly, hoping that he's going to pick her, because she's, as far as she knows, she's within grasp of the prize, but it's almost like he needs to propose so she can prove to herself that she has worth and that she actually is the prize by way of him proposing. But clearly, that's not what's going on. So let's click on this one and see what it says. I have not read this yet. This girl is 37, he's 38. We met at the end of 2020. I just lost my dad from cancer, blah, 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 blah. She was living with her mom. And at the time, this was 2020. So she moved in with her mom, and that's around the time that she met this guy. She says, through me going through my previous breakup, dad's passing, and mom's illness, my partner has been my rock throughout this time. He spent time with her and helped cook food and did things around the house for her / me. By the way, this also buys into why these women are willing to wait for so long, because they buy into this whole sunken cost fallacy that basically is, well, we spent all this time together and he's been doing stuff for me and my family. We've gone on trips together. He spent time with my various siblings and we get along great. And therefore, based on the amount of time we've been together, it should be obvious to him that we should be getting married, right? And this speaks to that men and women evaluate when there's time to get married on completely different things. But I tend to find that if men are waiting that long, it's really because he's not completely sold on her yet. Maybe she has some certain habits or flaws that she hasn't gotten rid of yet. And the guy's like, she's hot and attractive, but until she fixes these things, I'm not getting anywhere near this in terms of paperwork, all right? But anyway, So after the mom passed away, then both her and her boyfriend moved in, and she moved in with him in mid 2022. So this is now 3 years ago. And I tell women, by the way, as a general rule, like, I don't think people should be living with each other before they get married, in part because you want to kind of leave something out there that is a stipulation to get married. Like, even me, I'm always been that guy that's like, hey, unless we actually are like getting together like that, you have your own place, I have my own place, because I'm not trying to get into a legal situation with somebody that I'm not married to, and then things go haywire, and now I got to fight with somebody that didn't even have a ring on. So that's always been my mantra as well. And so they moved in 2022. Now it's been 3 years later. So as of today, 5 years is coming up in September 12th this year. That's like, as of this taping, like 4 days from now or something like that. 5 days from now. Living together for 2.5/3 years. I was looking to freeze my eggs as a backup, being that I turned 38 soon, but I have found myself unexpectedly pregnant. I am 16 weeks/4 months pregnant. This scares me because I don't want to be a single mom. Then why would you set yourself up for that? Like, I don't understand. I get when women get to their late 30s, they're like, well, I just got to let things happen. And if I get pregnant, great, because I don't have much of a shot. But even still, why would you do that with somebody you're not married to? And I say the same thing to guys. Guys should not be getting women pregnant if they're not yet married. I don't understand why people feel the need to do that, but it can cause major problems later on should the two decide not to get together. Anyway, she says, I desperately wanted to have children whilst I can due to my age, but I hate that he knows the deadline ends next week and still doesn't seem fazed. My partner is like my other half. We never argue, and I love him dearly. We are just great together in every way, but he gets funny when I talk about him proposing. He has changed the subject or played coy with which alarmed me, and I have vented and cried to him, saying that I don't want to leave him, but he will leave me no choice. Well, the reality is this woman's not leaving. Like, she's pregnant by the guy. She's already dealt with 5 years of being with him, regardless of a ring being there. So the guy knows she ain't gonna leave nowhere. Like, she ain't gonna do nothing. She's gonna purposely leave and take care of a kid by herself with versus staying with a guy that she loves that just won't happen to marry her. Like, that's the trap that women get themselves into. And also notice a lot of things that she's doing to try to get him to agree to marry is all this emotional stuff. And I wish men and women had a better understanding of how the other one worked, because, like I tell you guys, telling women facts and figures about stuff is not going to make them change their mind. You have to talk to them on an emotional level so they'll understand the emotional feeling behind why it is you're requesting the thing that you want. Well, for women, it's the opposite. I tell women, you need to give men facts, because they don't care about you crying or how you feel or how it's making you feel. Men care about, what are the facts of this? For example, I know plenty of guys that agreed to get married simply because they realized, oh, they would save money on insurance and rent. Like, it had nothing to do with how much they cared about the woman, the emotions that they were going to make her feel if they get married to her. It was all about, oh, these things line up great, and therefore this will work out for a marriage. Let's go ahead and do that. So this woman trying to be all emotional about it, it's not going to hit at the things that are important to a guy with respects to a long-term situation. Anyway, he said he would have proposed if it wasn't for my 12-month deadline, and asked why he has to propose within that time. Yeah, because guys don't like to be told and given orders on some stuff. Like, if a guy's going to propose to a woman, at the point that they start dating, he kind of already knows, but you pushing any kind of agenda is typically going to make a guy be like, she's trying to control me. Well, I'll show her. And by the way, women do this exact same thing. Men trying to tell women what to do and where to go and whatever is going to oftentimes make them rebel. So it's not that you can't request somebody to do something. It's just, I have found that if they love you enough, you can simply just kind of say what your wants and desires are without having to push it as it's a thing that they have to do. And the person will normally just want to typically do it. Like, I find in relationships, if a woman just kind of mentions like, oh, it'd be so nice if we did X, Y, and Z, they're not forcing me to do nothing. But if I care enough about them, I'm already trying to think of ways to make that happen, you know? Anyway, so she said, he also doesn't negotiate with terrorists as a joke, but it is all hurtful. His reasons for being reserved is, one, he's currently out of work. He was a sole contractor, blah, 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 lost his job, trying to figure out something else. He wants to spend $10K on a ring, not necessary. He does want to buy a house with me 50-50. I have the funds and blah, blah, blah. Well, you could always lease. You could always try to lease a house instead of outright buying a house. If the factor is you want to live in a house, you can lease a house. That's different from you guys have to outright own a house, okay? But anyway, so she says, regarding a forever home, blah, 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 which will be a larger purchase. I don't want to dip into the money I got from my parents, as then the whole pool is then open to be claimed as this is inherited funds. I would be okay to sell my investment property, blah, 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 but I want to be married or engaged, or at least before I buy together. I have anxiety. I feel like I'm just begging him now, and I hate myself for it. I'm smart, good looking. I just don't know why it's so difficult for someone to take my feelings. So anyway, so the point is, you see all this stuff, right? All this crap she's going through, and all the crap that all the other women on these posts are going through speaks to this idea that the belief that the woman is a prize is a lie. So here's how things work, right? In terms of the sexual realm of things, we could argue that women are the prize because men are cajoling for the position of being able to get them into freaky positions, to bed them, to lay them down. And that takes work. That takes taking them out. That takes making them feel as though they're attracted to you. It takes establishing trust. And so, yeah, a guy has to oftentimes work really hard in order to get her in the bed. But when it comes to long-term commitment, guys, you are the prize. And this is important for you as a guy to understand because so many guys go into dating with the position that the woman's the best one and they need to put her on a pedestal, which, spoiler, turns most women off, but that she's the one that's supposed to make all the decisions about stuff and that it's her way or the highway. And the reality is that even though they are the prize for sex, what the prize that women are looking for is a man that is willing to commit to them and being in a long-term relationship. And you have control of that. You have control and say over how that's going to happen and when that's going to happen. And that starts with making sure that she's being trustworthy and she's being consistent and she's being able to constantly show up for you, and she's not overly naggy, and she knows how to be sexy and sensual and be feminine, and she knows how to let you lead. And so those are things that you are going to be needing to judge of her during the time that you're dating her, because at the end of the day, regardless of what women say, they're the ones that are out here seeking commitment. Now, you as a guy might want to be married someday. You might want commitment, and that is admirable, but in a woman's head, she's the one that is seeking it out. Stereotypically in society, we see it that women are the ones that are typically trying to lock down guys for commitment. This is why when you as a guy are trying to do that, women get turned off because they've already have it in their heads that it is their job to be the ones that do that because that is what females do. They try to convince us as to why they're great enough for us to then want to commit to them. But that also shows that our commitment is the prize. So we can argue maybe it's not so much that men are the prize as much as it is that women know that in order to get commitment, at least straight women anyway, that they need to convince us that commitment is a thing that is worthy of doing. And they know a lot of guys out there aren't so readily willing to get into commitment, especially based on how the courts and stuff are now, how untrustworthy they found women to be. Men typically have really hard journeys in terms of even being able to know how to attract women and get them and keep them. And then, when you get a woman, oftentimes they're trying to be argumentative and trying to push limits of stuff like that. And so, yeah, that's why seeking your commitment is the prize. And so you have to take advantage of that. You have to, be able to stand up for yourself and set boundaries and tell women no. And these are things, by the way, that women actually want to see from you because it speaks to a guy that's going to be able to protect them when dangers and other things arise. But you guys walking around thinking, well, no, she's really the prize and I got to, compliment her all the time and give her whatever. That's the reason you're losing out. Or if you get married to a woman, you have a woman that is very unhappy because all women are looking to feel like the guy they're dating is higher than them. That's why we talk about hypergamy. Women are looking to level up. She wants to think as though the guy that she is dating is above her in some way, whether it's money, personality, emotionality, etc., right? And so that's why, again, you as the guy are the ultimate prize. So, and it's great, by the way, if you feel as though your woman's also a prize. There are women out there that'll do all the things that I'm telling you and more, and you can conceive them to be unicorns. Although, as I said in a previous show, it takes like 6 to 12 months to really determine if the woman that you're particularly dating is actually a unicorn. So, in the meantime, you treat all women the same, right? But you could find a woman out there that is a prize in terms of things that are going to be good in your life and help you to elevate to that next level and be a woman that comes along and that wants to take care of the household and take care of the kids and stuff like that. But you get to have a say in who that is. And so that means to that end that, yes, guys, believe it or not, you are actually the prize, but you have to believe it. Because if you don't believe it, then the women you come across aren't going to believe it, and they're going to see you as less than. And at the point that a woman sees you as less than, then in her head, you are no longer a prize to be won, and she's going to go after the next dude that she feels is, in fact, a prize to be won. Whether or not she'll ever say it out loud, that is the reality. So, just wanted to point that out. Again, go to Reddit and check out the Waiting to Wed thread, and I promise you, if you read enough of those stories, you will start to realize, gee, women really do feel like we're the prize when they're highly attracted to us. Amazing how that works. And by the way, if you need help becoming that guy, you can go to HarryWilmington.com and you can sign up for my one-on-one coaching. You can also check out my various ebooks, audiobooks, and my Get Girls Academy program, which has all the video lessons you'll ever need on how to meet, greet, attract, keep women, and of course, how to change your mindset so you'll be in the mind frame of a guy that feels as though he is truly the prize. So check all that out at HarryWilmington.com. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm Harry Wilmington. Like this video, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace. Hey there, thanks for tuning in to Harry Dating Convos. Don't forget to visit HarryWilmington.com to download my free ebook, Texting Women Like a Boss. And while you're there, if you're ready to take things to the next level with your dating life, check out the Get Girls Academy membership program for exclusive strategies and live coaching. Go to HarryWilmington.com to learn more and join today. Lastly, if you've got a question you'd like answered on one of these shows, leave a comment below or write me at HarryWilmington@gmail.com. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.